Yes. Hello, Mason. Um, how did you become the player you've kind of been for Purdue this year? Kind of the grinder type. Have you always been that way, or did you develop that way here at Purdue, or what's kind of the origin story there?
Yeah, I think that's how I've always played, really. And then in the role I'm in this year, I'm in less of a scoring role. In past, like in high school and AAU, I was able to score more. I had the ball more, got more shots. But I've completely accepted my role this year, and I'm fine with it. I know I'll grow into more areas in the following years, but I'm just trying to do what Purdue needs me to do to win the game.
Yeah. Um, how would you articulate the way you're trying to impact games? I guess.
Just doing every little thing, taking charges, diving on balls, delivering the ball where it needs to be and when it needs to be, getting as many rebounds as possible, and then hitting my shots whenever I get them.
Can you just kind of walk us through the sequence at Michigan State there, where you dove on the ball and then you did a pretty good job playing transition defense against Aaron Henry?
Mhm. Yeah, it looks like a more special play with a lot more complicated things to it than what it really is. We have it's not necessarily an offensive free throw play, but the big guys on the free throw line talk to each other about where they're going to rebound the ball. And so my job at that point was to go baseline, and I didn't get the ball. Zach was able to get his hands on it. I saw it was loose, bouncing around a little bit, and I saw Joey go down and jump on it. And I knew that the game was close. It was late in the game, and I knew he couldn't be the only one that was jumping on the ball. So I just dove for it. And luckily, I honestly didn't know that it was our jump ball, our possession, but luckily it was in our favor. And, we got the ball back and then scored. And whenever Aaron Henry was dribbling up the court, usually the four-man takes the ball out for the opposite team. So I'm usually at half court with our jam guy, and that being Eric this time.
Right.
I saw Eric had kind of gotten beat a little bit, so I called a switch and, just try to play the best defense I could without him getting a clean shot off, letting him get completely by me or fouling. So I knew I just had to move my feet and keep my hands up in the air.
You probably, prior to Purdue, probably didn't have a lot of experience feeding the post, but you've done a pretty good job with that, it seems like. How was that process for you? Was that something you worked on during the redshirt year, things like that?
Yeah, I would agree that I don't really have that much experience feeding the post, but I have a lot of experience receiving. So I know what the guys like Zach and Trey, I know what they kind of like because I was in that position basically my entire life. I always play the post, and I've slowly been able to stretch out, but being able to understand where they're coming from and where they want the ball and when they want the ball, it's a lot easier on my part to understand what I can and can't do with them. At the beginning of this year, I struggled a little bit passing it in and just understanding the kind of pass that I have to throw, whether it's a lob, direct pass, bounce pass,
Right.
how hard I have to throw it, how soft I have to throw it. Just learning Trey and Zach. They're two different players, so I have to treat them like they are two different players and feed them the proper way. Because if I try to do what I want to do the whole time, then they might not be ready for it. But if I wait on them and we're on the same page, we're going to connect more times than not.
Right. You guys did a good job being physical with their front line the other night. Just what sort of tone, I guess, are you trying to set in that element of the game?
For sure. We just have to be the bigger dog in the court every single game, punch them in the mouth from the get-go. And, whenever we do that, I think we get an advantage because we have Trey and Zach, big dominant, big guys in the post. And whenever we impose our will, it's hard to stop us. But whenever we're kind of shy and not necessarily doing what we are supposed to do every time, getting them in foul trouble, burying them deep, running the floor, rim to rim, it's hard to do. It's hard to guard that entire game.
One last thing for me. Can you just kind of speak to you and Brandon collectively, what you've tried to add to this team from a competitive perspective?
Exactly that, just simply competing every day in practice. We're going at everybody, whenever it's white versus black. We're still friends on the court and off the court, but we're still going at everybody, and we take that mentality to the game. It's pretty simple. Brandon and I have been working to be here a long time. We were ready to play last year, and we had to sit out last year. So it's we have a little extra edge on our shoulder, a little extra chip. I think people have realized that even though we're starting this year, we've learned a lot, gotten a lot better. And so I'm pretty proud about where Brandon and I are together.
Good. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah. Do you feel like you could have contributed last year in your true freshman year and maybe had some of the success that you're having now?
For sure. I'm always confident in myself and what I can do. Last year, I think the thing that held me back was the learning curve, really. I had the competitiveness and maybe not the entire physicality. I've grown into that a little bit, getting stronger and just understanding what I can and can't do and just learning different ways of how I can do things. But yeah, I think I would have been able to impact the team last year. Coach said it wasn't my time, so I was okay with that and got better over the season. Same with Brandon. He got better too. And so, we came back and we were just preparing for this year.
Based on that, has this unfolded this year so far the way that you thought it would for you and how you're playing and kind of the role that you're playing?
The whole time I was getting recruited last year and this year, the coaches have been 100% honest with me. So I did kind of see it coming, just talking to them and them letting me know where I'm at. I never stopped working, and they saw that. So I think that's where I'm at today. I'm not going to just take things for granted. I took too much time off. Well, I was forced to take too much time off from an injury and then holding out last year. Every practice, I'm going hard as I can. Every game, I'm going hard as I can because the next day I might not be able to play again. And I think it's easy to say that whenever you haven't been hurt yet, you play as hard as you can. But whenever you have to sit out for 2-3 years, it really hurts you. And you have to think about it in a different light. Every practice might be my last practice. Every game might be my last game. So just trying to do everything I can to prove what I can do.
Makes you hungry, doesn't it?
Most definitely.
Right. Do you need a hustle play to get you going, or are you prepared to make a hustle play when the game starts?
I'm prepared from the start. Whether we get the tip or we don't get the tip, offense, defense, whatever we're doing, I'm ready from the jump.